The quiet coda to Out of the Past is one of my favorite endings to any film, noir or otherwise. The kid's small but profound gesture is a wonderful nod from the living to the dead, and a way for Jeff to release his hold on Anne from beyond the grave. It's a subtle grace note in a story that by its end has compiled a Shakespearean-level body count. Dickie Moore was 22 years old when he made this film, same age as Jane Greer, but he'd been in pictures since he was a baby in the silent era. By the time Robert Mitchum, Jane Greer, and Kirk Douglas showed up in the 40s, Moore already had more than 50 films under his belt. He was known for being the first guy to give Shirley Temple an on-screen kiss. In Out of the Past, the kid was the veteran in the cast. Once he became an adult, however, his film work diminished. At the end of the 1950s, Moore switched careers, opening a successful PR agency. In 1981, when he was 56 years old, he met former star and TCM favorite Jane Powell while writing a book about Hollywood's child stars. They fell in love and remained married until Moore's death in 2015. Moore also displayed some fancy fly casting skills in this film. The guy he yanks to his death was making his movie debut. Now, it may be hard to believe of a guy that big and burly, but Paul Valentine began in the performing arts as a ballet dancer, performing at age 14 with the Ballet Russe of Monte Carlo. He later danced under the names Val Valentinov and Vladimir Valentinov, although his real name was Bill Daxel, and he hailed from New York City. He was certainly on point in his portrayal of Wit's henchman, Joe Stefanos. In his personal life, Valentine gravitated toward a different form of dance, burlesque. He had a thing with famed fan dancer Sally Rand in the early 40s, and in 1946 he married Lily St. Cyr, one of the most popular performers on the burlesque circuit. Valentine not only choreographed her routines, he often danced with her on stage. After her performance as Kathy Moffat, you'd have figured Jane Greer was on her way to superstar status. It didn't work out that way, however, largely due to one man, RKO chief Howard Hughes. When Hughes signed Greer to a long-term contract at RKO, he had designs on her, both professionally and personally. But when she suddenly married Chicago businessman Edward Lasker, Hughes punished her by not giving her any more parts in RKO films, nor would he lend her to other studios. Jane related the whole unhappy saga to me when I interviewed her at length for my book Dark City Dames, published way back in 2001. As aggravated as she was by her treatment at Hughes's hands, she expressed deep fondness for Robert Mitchum, who became a close friend, more like a big brother. In fact, Greer's return to the screen was opposite Mitchum in 1949's The Big Steal, which was Mitchum's first film following his notorious dope bust in 1948. No actress wanted to risk appearing with Mitchum, fearing a public backlash. But Jane jumped into the breach, begging Hughes to let her make the film in Mexico with her good pal. Now, rather than lose the money he'd already invested in pre-production, Hughes relented, and Mitchum and Greer had a ball together, especially since Jane got to indulge her flair for comedy, which is what she always wanted to do. There's a lot more to Jane's tumultuous life story, some of it quite sad, but I will always remember her as a shy, gracious, and incredibly funny person. She was one of the best natural mimics I've ever met, and she told stories of her career spiced with spot-on impressions of all the people she was talking about, including Mitchum and Howard Hughes. When she passed away in 2001, I was honored that her sons gave away copies of my book at her memorial service. Although she expressed nothing but gratitude for the career she had, I regret that Jane Greer never really got to display the full breadth of her talents. But there will always be Out of the Past. Next week on Noir Alley, I'll be presenting a TCM premiere, The Guilty, a rare 1947 monogram mystery based on a short story by Cornell Woolrich. It's a dank and dire tale of twin sisters restored to all its dank and dire glory by my Film Noir Foundation. It's weird and unusual and fully captures the sinister spirit of the author's best writing. Make sure you're here for it.